Hello, I'm Dr. Red Bull and welcome back. For those who've been checking their subscription box for another Dr. Red Bull video, you may have noticed these last few couple of weeks or maybe month, maybe I can't remember the exact video last time I had. There is nothing suffice, no video has been uploaded, been quite busy lately. I do have a gaming channel, so that is kind of my number one priority, and on top of other things, it's kind of hard to delegate some sort of fair schedule, and unfortunately this channel always seems to miss out, and I really want to get into it, really, to be honest. But anyway, on to the subject, which is the Australian Grand Prix, the Austrian Grand Prix, should I say, the Red Bull home race, on which I'm very excited about. Of course, being a Red Bull fan, it's their home track. And yeah, a big thank you to Sky, who I thought they could have done better coverage, but it was okay. I was satisfied with what they did. And yeah, I haven't watched all of the Sky F1 show when they was talking about it's a Red Bull special, and I've only watched the first 20 minutes. It just had Ricciardo in it, nothing about the team as such, but I just had a little Ricciardo interview at the start, which is cool. But I'm going to watch the end of that and then make my own mind up whether I thought it was a good show or not. And yeah, in the build up, I love Ted's little Austria tour guide he did. He went to Arnie's museum, which you should check out on YouTube. It's pretty cool if you don't happen to watch the Sky coverage or you happen to miss the build up to the race. I thought that's pretty awesome. And there's little segments here and there. I wish they did do a little bit more, but I can't understand why they may or may not have. But they could have done a little bit more. But overall, I was fairly satisfied with what they did. On to the race weekend itself. Of course, it's been a few days now since the race. Qualifying and practice have been completed, so statistics and memory is a little bit hazy at this moment in time. But practice was generally good. There was a little bit of sandbagging going on. Red Bull struggled with setup a bit. They had balance issues with the chassis, which is unlike them. They're usually pretty sound when it comes to setup, but there's a little bit fastidious this weekend, and they couldn't quite work out which road to take. Qualifying, well, Vettel, it's no surprise really. I did expect him to be in Q3 at the very least, but no, he just missed out, and that just happens, doesn't it? I think he hasn't missed out that much in qualifying, and I hope I'm not going to be wrong on that. I know he missed out in Australia and then Austria. I think that's the only times he's not made Q3 when he's had a fair shot at it. So yeah, no surprise there. But Ricciardo, a great lap to get P5. Is that where the car should be? I think only time will tell. But with that track specifically, no, P5 was incredibly a phenomenal achievement, and he completely outdrove the car. I think overall Red Bull is the second quickest car, but specifically on Austria, they are they're probably maybe the fourth or fifth fastest that weekend. So yeah, great qualifying from Ricciardo. And moving on to the race itself, again, Vettel retirement, unfortunate for him. Third retirement, and Ricciardo in where did he finish? He finished in 6th, I believe. He got a great overtake on the last lap. I can't remember who it was against. Oh no, was he 7th? I can't remember what position it was. He was either 6th or 7th, I knew that. And he did a great overtake. I think it might have been Perez. Who was Perez? Was he 5th? I can't remember where they were, but Ricciardo was thereabouts for the sake of argument. And yeah, it was a great race from him. Again, very consistent. He does nothing silly. He did have a poor start though, and he did go off track, and he did lose positions. That didn't compromise his race as such, but that was the only flaw really I could find in Ricciardo, and probably the whole of the season really. The guy's been phenomenal, and he's doing fantastic. So great work from him. And again, yeah, Vettel, it was another technical side which let him down. It's his third retirement due to a technical problem. It's not as bland as that. There's a little bit more faults for with the car in qualifying sessions beforehand. So he's really having a tough time when it comes to the seasons. Whereas Ricciardo, his car's been perfect, apart from one or two races where there was issues. But apart from that, he's been impervious to technical difficulties. So yeah, really getting the rub of the green there, and fair play to him. But I'm sure Vettel will bounce back for the next race for sure. And yeah, that's basically what I've got to say about the Australian Grand Prix. Big disappointment from Red Bull's side, but it is what it is. And yeah, that's what it is really. Also, I want to touch on Jack Villeneuve's comments, which he's made, which really annoyed me. He said Vettel should leave Red Bull because they don't favour him no more, because he's no longer what the brand is about. Now, this really annoyed me and got right under my skin. I appreciate Red Bull are indefinitely a marketing company, so I'm not stupid in that sense, and they are rather unique to most racing teams, that's for sure. And yeah, but I wouldn't completely entirely agree with what Villeneuve was saying that they don't favour him anymore. It's merely the case of the technical problems. I think there's only 20 points between him and Ricciardo. Vettel's had some fantastic races. He's had a great race in Spain. He had a great race in Malaysia. He was having a great race in Monaco, apart from until he had to retire due to a technical problem. So yeah, so Vettel's still having a great season. It's just that Ricciardo is on this other level at the moment, and everything's going perfect for him, and he's getting no faults whatsoever. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to even out over the year, as it always does, but who knows? It could be another Hamilton 2012 year where he just had endless supply of technical problems, whereas Jenson Button was relatively alright. So yeah, hopefully by the end of the season it will even itself out. Should Vettel leave Red Bull? Probably not. I don't see it coming for the next few years, that's for sure, because I think Red Bull will always provide him a good car. They seem to have a good plan. It's just the engine side of things where they're struggling, which I'm sure they will resolve, whether it be, well, it'll probably be 2015 at the very earliest. So yeah, so it's nothing to, I don't think it's entirely true that Red Bull not favour him anymore. It's just a simple case that it's kind of out of their hands at the moment with what Vettel's doing. And I know with Villeneuve, he kind of jumped on what Marco said, and Marco said he had to raise his game. Again, comments taken slightly out of context with what Dr. Helmut Marko was actually saying during his interview. He was literally saying, look Vettel, the engine's not as good, so we don't have the best engine. Yes, we don't have that rear grip which you love, which you can get on the power very early. We know we don't have that no more. So he was literally saying, you're just going to have to adjust and raise your game to this new formula. We can't give you what we used to have. So he's now having to adapt. That's all Marco was saying. It was a frank interview, and unfortunately, when you're blunt and honest as Marco is, you can take his comments and completely take it out of context, and it's so frustrating because it's such a breath of fresh air to have a character like Dr. Helmut Marko in F1 in the paddock, because he's just so frank and honest and just tells you as it is. And you know, few far between we get these characters nowadays. So yeah, so the comments were completely taken out of context with Villeneuve, and Villeneuve, well, I don't know what to say about him really. It seems like everything what he says is controversial in order to get attention, and it's usually around about the Canadian Grand Prix he comes up with something ludicrous. I think he says something about Kimi should go home. It's a load of old fucking bollocks he comes out with, to be honest. And yeah, so, and along with the Vettel comments were rubbish too, because if you read the article and think about what he's actually said, it's just absolutely ludicrous. And even to give such a verdict, such not even halfway into the season, it's boulder dash. You know, if he said it at the end of the season or midway through the second season, and it's still the same current state of affairs, then fair enough, I would actually listen and might even agree with Villeneuve. But the fact is, he's saying it, and we're only 8 or so races in. We're not even past the halfway point. So it's really frustrating to hear those sort of comments. It's best to ignore them, but drop a comment down below if you let me know what you thought about Villeneuve's comments, whether you agreed or whether you didn't. If you didn't see the Villeneuve comments, then that's probably a good thing that you didn't, but go and check it out. Go and find it if you can. If you can't, I'll link you. And yeah, like the video if you enjoyed watching this, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and hopefully I'll see you in a future video. Take care.